Welcome back. Today I'm going to be putting the engine in this MXZX 440 chassis. I'm using a 500cc Rotax from about the same era. This is a 2000. The engine and harness that I'm using is a 2001. I've had quite a few other videos about putting this engine together and doing the harness and stuff like that. And today, honestly, I'm not going to explain anything. I'm just going to set the camera up on like a time-lapse thing. And by the end of this, I'm hoping to have the engine in and ready to fire. Before I do that though, I want to show you a couple things that are kind of unique about the snowcross or the 440X chassis. So they sit, what I want to show you here is what sits under the engine, and I know I could have cleaned this better, but it is better than what it was before I started. This brace here is different than the standard trail sleds. They don't have this brace. These buttons actually hit on a piece that mounts to the bottom of the engine, and I believe these are welded a little bit differently in these corners on the X chassis. It looks like they're more fully welded than they are on the trail one. All that stuff should help stiffen it up. And then here's the bottom side of the engine. This is that plate that I was talking about. This sits down and actually contacts that frame plate or that chassis brace. Without anything else, I'm going to go ahead and put this into a time-lapse mode. If you've been watching it up to this point, obviously I've got the engine in, but there's still a lot of work left to do. I don't have a clutch alignment tool. Normally, if you're putting the same engine back in that you took out with all the same mounts and brackets, you can just line them up by witness marks and they're close enough that you'll probably never have an issue. This is a different motor, different engine plate. Everything is different about it. So I'm gonna need to get an actual clutch alignment tool and figure out where to put this engine. The other kind of major thing is I've got to make a mount for this control module. I think I'm going to try to figure out something that puts it right about there, which is actually pretty much where it would be if it still had the oil bottle there. So I've got to come up with a mount for that. Right now it's just going to sit there. One of my carb boots is actually the wrong carb boot. It's for a 440. I've got it clamped down a little bit too tight to make it work. But I'm alright with that, because when I was cleaning the carburetors, I found out that one of the stands for the float level is snapped off. It seems to be working. It's actually kind of seems to work pretty decent, but it's there. I also cheated off camera. I pressurized the tank a little bit, which blows fuel down to the carburetors. So the carburetors should have fuel in them. And I'm going to go ahead and start this. But because I don't have coolant, I'm not going to run it very long. Another thing, this is the first startup on this engine. I'm doing it with a mineral-based oil. So I've got about 4 gallons of pre-mix mineral-based oil in this tank. I'm kind of going by the 4-stroke theory here that you don't want to break in an engine with synthetic. So I've got conventional oil pre-mixed. I've got about 4 gallons. I'll run through that 4 gallons before I switch to a synthetic oil. And I think that's about it. So I'm going to open up the door, pull this thing outside, and I just want to see if it actually starts. So hopefully it will. Cool. That started right up. It seems to be running pretty good. I've got it to where it's just kind of, you can feel a little bit of heat in the cylinder head, but not really too bad. I didn't even see any exhaust leaks. It smoked less than I was expecting. I've got it mixed at somewhere around 24-1. So these spec'd 32-1 when they were new because I've got fresh pistons and all that stuff. I richened it up a little bit on the oil mixture. I'm gonna try to keep the RPM down. Yeah, I guess that's really about it for right now. Headlight worked, tach works. I didn't check the brake light, or actually I know the brake light doesn't work, it's not hooked up. I didn't check the tail light. So seems like things are working, and I just have a lot more stuff to do. So like this, I'm gonna have to build a bracket. I've got that old tunnel outside, so I'll probably build it out of the donor snowmobile. But yeah, so I've got to build stuff like that. I've got another sled that I wasn't sure if I was gonna part out But because this needs carburetors and I like this one better, I'm probably gonna part the other sled out so I can steal its carburetors, intake boots, stuff like that. But yeah, once I get this thing aligned and some coolant in it, I wouldn't be afraid to run it around the yard, and that's probably what I'll do with it for right now. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you later. Hit that subscribe button. Still trying to get to that 1,000 mark. I'm like halfway there. But